Acrylic butterfly beads are one of our best sellers. Hi, my name's Carol and welcome to my channel. It's lovely to have you here. Today I'm going to show you how to make these butterfly dangle earrings. Now this is a beginner project and I'll be teaching you techniques like how to make loops and how to open jump rings. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new project. So let's make some earrings. To make these earrings, you will need 2 of these acrylic butterfly beads. You will need 6 6mm glass crystal rondelles, 4 4mm beaded rondelles, 4 of these 3mm corrugated metal beads, 2 6mm jump rings, 2 5cm eye pins, 17 centimeters of twist cable chain, 6 of these 5cm head pins, and 2 ear wires. I'll leave a link in the description below for all of the products, so you don't need to remember that. As far as tools are concerned, you will need some flush cutters. You will also need some chain nose pliers, and you'll need some round nose pliers. So let's get started making these earrings. The first thing we're going to do is make the butterfly portion. Now basically this is an eye pin with the beads threaded on and a loop at the top. So that's what we're going to do first. So we're going to take one of our eye pins and just give it a bit of a straighten. Now when you get eye pins and head pins, sometimes they're quite crooked. That's okay, they're quite bent. You can just give them a bit of a straighten. It doesn't stop you being able to use them. Okay, the first thing that's going to go on here is one of the 3mm beads. Like that. And then next we're going to put on a beaded rondelle. Then the butterfly bead, making sure you go from the bottom to the top. And then another beaded rondelle. And lastly, another 3mm bead. So that's what we have now. I'm actually going to make the other earring at the same time so that I get them to be the same size. So I'm going to take my eye pin, my 3mm bead, my beaded rondelle, my butterfly, making sure I go from the bottom to the top, beaded rondelle, and finally my little 3mm corrugated bead. So now I have 2 exactly the same. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that this part of the earring is the same so that they'll hang at the same distance when I wear them. So to do that, I'm actually going to take my ruler. Sorry, I didn't mention that you'll need a ruler. And I'm going to measure 1 centimetre from the top of the bead, the top of the last bead, and I'm just going to pick that up with my flush cutters, making sure that I'm using the flat side of my flush cutters, not the indented side. That side's indented, this side's flush. So I'm going to pick up my, I'll try to do this so you can see them, see what I'm doing. So holding the earring so that the bead is in line with the 0, I'm going to just take my flush cutters and pick it up there at the 1 centimetre mark. And the reason I'm choosing 1 centimetre is because you generally need about 1 centimetre to make a loop. So now I'm just holding both ends of the wire and I'm just going to snip it. Oops, holding my beads out of the way. The reason I'm holding both ends of my wire is so that the wire doesn't fly away and hit someone in the eye or get in someone's foot on the floor. Okay, so that's what I've got now. So what I'm going to do next is measure that these earrings are the same size. So just taking the earring, the long one that I haven't cut yet, pushing all the beads down and measuring it basically against, whoops, the other one which wants to slide away on me. There we go. Then I'm cutting it at exactly the same length. So now I have two pieces that are exactly the same length. So the next step is to make the loop in the top of the earring here. So what I'm going to do, I'll just pop this one out of the way for a minute, is I'm going to take my round nose pliers, putting the round nose pliers right at the top of the bead there, just pushing the beads up with the eye pin up with my thumb, and I'm just going to bend the wire. Now I could have done that with my thumb, and I'll show you that on the other one. I could have actually just pushed the beads up and put my fingernail into there and bent it over. Now the problem is sometimes you actually bend the wire like that. If you can see that when you do that. So I'm just straightening that up and making sure I get a nice firm bend. Nice sharp bend is what I'm looking for. Alright, now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to put the wire into the jaws of the round nose pliers. Now notice that I've got my earring underneath the pliers and the wire is coming up. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my finger over the top of the pliers here to make sure that piece of wire isn't sticking up through and poking up out of the jaws. And I've got the earring, the wire probably about, let's measure it, shall we? Let's see how far I've got it in. So it's about 1/2 centimetre in from the end of the pliers. I've actually drawn a mark on my pliers because that's the size loop I use regularly. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, holding the earring between my thumb and my forefinger and the round nose pliers in my other hand obviously, I'm just going to twist my wrist away from me as far as it will go. Then I'm going to let go slightly, bring the pliers back round, twist them back round, and I'm going to twist again. And what that should give you is a nice round loop. Now don't be concerned if you don't get your loop perfect the first time. It took me ages to learn how to make loops, so it's just the way it is. It's just practice makes perfect. Now I'm going to repeat that with this one. Now remember, we hold the earring down with the wire pointing up, line it up with the mark on my pliers, so you can see it just there. And the reason I put the mark is, then you get the same size loop every time. And just holding the earring between my thumb and my forefinger, and I'm just going to twist away, turn my wrist away, readjust the pliers, and do the same thing again. Now I want to show you this because this wasn't a very good loop. Sometimes you get that. You can see there my loop is quite twisted and it's not actually closed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten it up. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm just going to straighten my loop a little bit. Sometimes that happens, and it's good for you to know that sometimes it happens to me too. And now I'm going to finish my loop properly and close it up. And sometimes they take a wee bit of adjusting when you've not done them right the first time. There we go. So I've got my chain here, and for the first length of chain, so you can see here I've got 3 different lengths of chain. 1, 2, 3. So this one is made from 5 links, this one's made from 6 links, and this one's made from 7 links. So that's what we're going to cut. Alright, so I'm going to take my chain and my flush cutters, and I'm just going to count off 5 links. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So make sure you've got double check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just cut. You can cut the 6th link, and just put your fingers over it so it doesn't fly away, because it will. And you can just put that piece aside. Now we're going to do the 6 links, so count them off again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and cut number 7. You'll find you use your flush cutters for picking up things as well. And then I need one with with 7, so I'm going to cut number 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just going to double check before I cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can see there, double checking every time just to make sure that I've got it right. Now you can join the chain back up if you cut it wrong, that's fine. Okay, so there's my 3 little pieces of chain. And next I'm going to actually make the dangles for the bottom of the chain. Now we do that using the head pin. So this head pin's a bit crooked, so I'll just give it a bit of a straighten. And I'm going to take one of my beads and pop it on like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bend the head pin over at the top of the bead. I'm actually putting my fingernail in there just to kind of give it a sharp bend. Okay, now I'm going to take my trusty ruler and I'm going to measure from that bend. I'm going to measure about 8 millimeters because I want this loop to be slightly smaller than the other one. So just lining it up there and measuring 8 millimeters from the bend. I have it in my flush cutters now and just giving it a snip. Let's move all of that out of the way. And now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and make a loop just like I did before. So because it's a slightly smaller loop, I'm just moving slightly, ever so slightly to the left of that mark and just checking it's not sticking up. And I'm holding it kind of tucked in behind my fingernail there. And just twist, using your thumbnail to kind of anchor it down. And I have readjusted the pliers onto the wire onto the bottom jaw and twisting some more. Sometimes it takes a few attempts to get your loop nice and closed like that. Alright, so that's what I've got. And I need 2 more of those, so I'm going to go ahead and make those. And by the magic of video I already have. And now I'm going to take my chain and I'm going to add those loops to the bottom of the chain. So I'm just going to grab the loop in my pliers on the side that opens, and I'm just holding the bead between my thumb and my forefinger, and I'm going to twist my hand down, therefore opening the loop just like that. Now I'm going to take my piece of chain and I'm going to attach it to one of the links, and I'm just going to close it, just reversing the process, so holding the wire between the jaws of my pliers and just pressing down. Now if it's not closed, like mine is slightly open, what you do is you wiggle up and down with pushing a little bit of pressure towards the palm of your hand, just pushing and wiggling until it's closed. You might need to readjust your pliers a few times to be able to get that actually happening. And you can almost feel it click into place. So that's what you're looking for now. Just go ahead and do that a couple more times. So looking for the side that opens, holding it between your jaws of your pliers and twisting up, attaching the last link of the chain, oops, and closing it, giving it a bit of a wiggle so that it's closed properly. One more. All right, now I have my 3 dangles. Now I'm just going to actually arrange them in size. So put the longest one on one side and the shortest one on the other. And the reason I'm doing that, whoops, is so that I get them in the right order. because I want them to hang from shortest to longest. Alright, so now I'm going to take a jump ring, and I'm going to use 2 pairs of pliers for this. I know I didn't say you needed 2 pairs of pliers, but it's easier. And I'm going to hold the jump ring on either side between my pliers, and I'm just going to twist, just like I did with the loop, and that just opens the jump ring. Now I'm going to put on the biggest one, and then the middle-sized one, and then the smallest one. And while I'm here, I'm going to put on my butterfly as well, making sure that I'm putting on the bottom loop of the butterfly. Alright, and now I'm going to take my other pair of pliers, and I'm just going to close that up. Now when you're closing a jump ring, you use exactly the same process, so you just push and wiggle until you hear it click, or until you can no longer see any light between them. There we go. Okay, so now all that's left to do is to add your ear wire. Now I'm going to give this little chappy, I've bent in his loop, so I'm just going to give him a little bit of a straighten up. And actually while I'm here, I'm going to take my other pair of pliers and hold on to the bottom loop. And what I want to do is just twist that a little bit, because I want to make sure that the 2 loops on either end of the butterfly are going the same way, and they're not quite yet. So just giving them a twist like that, so that they're now going exactly the same way. So I'm just going to grab my ear wire. Now when you're opening ear wires, one side of the loop will open and one side won't, so it's usually the side that points to the hook that opens. I'm going to take my pliers, and I'm just going to open that loop just exactly the same way as we have before, just lifting up, pressing down with my hand, grabbing my earring, popping it on, and just closing it, giving it a wiggle, pushing it in so it's exactly closed. Now you want to make sure that that is closed, because you don't want to lose your earring. There are your butterfly dangle earrings. Now one thing to note when you're making the second one is that you need to make sure that your ear wire is facing the other way. So if you put it on wrong, all you need to do is whip it off and turn it around, but just so that you get your earrings facing the other way. They will move, so when you actually wear them, they'll spin around a bit, so it's not a big deal. But if you're a perfectionist, that's what you need to do. I've left links in the description box below of everything you will need to make these earrings, so check that out as well. And if you want to see other beading projects, check out the other things on our channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Have a great day.